I saw a tweet from Storm this morning. I don't want to pick on this too hard, but I saw a tweet. And Storm says, I know that Event Hubs is Event Hubs, but am I the only one surprised / disappointed that Infel's netcode article hasn't been featured there yet? I didn't realize that Event Hubs hadn't done a story on this article yet. That's crazy to me. I feel like Event Hubs features stuff like this all the time. So to not feature this article seems really disappointing to me. I'm kind of sad that they didn't put this article up. It's probably the most well-researched fighting game article on the planet that's like been released recently for sure. It's like really well-researched and cited, an extremely nice presentation for how netcode works. It's so good. I can hardly think of any articles that are researched and well-written like this about something as technical as this, and so well presented with all the GIFs and stuff that it's included with this article, right? So the fact that Event Hubs didn't pick it up makes me a little sad. I wish our other publications would link to these things, right? Because if you're Event Hubs, this is a cool article. You might as well share it. I'll link it in the chat. ki.info.net. So Info replied and he said, it's unfortunate, but I think their track record speaks for itself. That is such a nice, mean thing to say, isn't it? They aren't that interested in actual content that requires effort to absorb. They, and maybe their readers, prefer clickbait and image-based content. Maybe it's not just a good fit for their readership. It's a bit sad, but IDK, I make content for people who care and don't spend time on sites that don't treat the reader's intelligence with respect. All I can do is recommend others do the same. Ricky, your way with words is... You and Rick need to sit down and compete in a spelling bee. That'd be great. I mean, it's true. I talked a little while ago how I thought most of the articles written about fighting games were not that interesting or not for me. It's too bad, I think, that this isn't something that's run there. I'm kind of the opinion that that's something that definitely should be run there, and it's important, right? Because in our community, the amount of articles that are written for people like, you know, who actually want like pretty in-depth content doesn't exist very much. Most of the articles that are written about our stuff is summaries of drama or written for the layman. It's unfortunate that that's the case. That's what I think is a bummer about fighting game writing too, is that articles like that are so cool and so well researched, but the issue is the amount of traction they will actually gain is probably a lot less than drama and other stuff like that, right? So the value in them is only the value that the writer wants to put into it and do it, because selling it to people is not going to probably be easy to do. Fighting game content by fighting game players is hard to find. It seems like it, kind of, right? It probably wasn't submitted to them, but they write about all kinds of stuff, you know? It was submitted? Oh no. You know, when it comes to articles and writing in general in fighting games, I feel pretty passionately about this article because I feel like there's very few articles written for people like me, which I think is totally fair. As fair as Chocolate City, who dropped the big 3 months. Thanks very much. The kind of writing that I would like to see is probably extremely niche compared to what general articles are written for and who consumes them in fighting games. I am like the smallest section of fighting game fans that you would write an article to ever. Most of the content written for fighting game fans is going to be like general recaps of events, highlighting moments, or like showing off drama or something like that, and showing off that easy peasy GG wrecked drop the big Twitch Prime. Thanks very much. So yeah, it makes total sense that that's what most of the content's like. That's because that's what most people look at. Yeah, you mentioned you like the explanation of it because you're a systems and programming nerd. I think that's why it probably did well on Ars Technica. Yeah, they don't need to host the whole article. Just a link to it and like a little discussion of what it is fine. Like when they have a video embedded on the site, they don't write word for word what the whole video is. They just write a paragraph about the video and then link it. Am I saying that most people who seriously play fighting games don't care about reading up? No, I feel like, okay, so for me, I'm a niche part of the fighting game community because I'm super embedded in it. And I don't need to read articles about, you know, why Sonic Fox winning Mortal Kombat at EVO is such a big deal, because I know why. I'm in the fighting game community. I commentate Mortal Kombat. I make content for it. I'm familiar with it. I don't need to read an article on Kotaku about why this is the coolest neutral played in Dragon Ball FighterZ because A, it wasn't, but B, like, I commentate Dragon Ball. I know what happened at that tournament. Like, you know, I watched it or I was there. But if you're a general fighting game fan who doesn't follow everything about Dragon Ball, or if you don't watch much Dragon Ball, or you missed that tournament, or you don't know much about why Sonic winning MK is really cool, or you don't know, you know, whatever it is, I think those topics will be more interested to you and you'll probably click on it. Or like, think about it like this. If you're a general fan of like, you know, competitive games and then you see that Evo's on, and then Kotaku has an article about Evo, and you're like, oh, cool, like, you know, this article about Evo, I kind of watched a little bit of that weekend, let me click it. So they click on the article and they check it out, and they're like, oh, this is awesome. That's why those articles are important and they do well and stuff, right? But they're not written for me. I'm not saying they should be, because I'm such a small section of what fighting game fans are, or the general reach of who's interested in fighting game content is much bigger than what I'm interested in, right? If you write more articles from me, not that many people are going to read them. This is the same thing where when I say, like, hey guys, I'm going to First Attack this weekend, everybody's like, First Attack, what the fuck is that? It's this weekend? And I'm like, hey guys, guess what? This weekend is the Asia Regional Final for Street Fighter V. And you guys are like, it's the what now? Where? Who? And it's like, you guys in my stream right now are watching Street Fighter at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. You guys like fighting games. You're fighting game fans. And when you guys are like, who? What? What's happening? That's a sign that our viewers and our readers and our followers of fighting games don't always know what's going on, because it's hard to find information and know where all this shit is. Well, it's 2 p.m. my time, all right? I get you guys all have a different time zone. I understand how the world works. And I'm not blaming anybody who writes articles for the reason the content that's popular is what it's popular. Esports people love event hubs for some reason. I mean, it's because they don't know any other place to get info, because there's not very many. You can talk a lot of shit about event hubs, but where else can you just go find the results to some event? Where do you go to look it up? There is not another answer. It is the best answer. It used to be SRK, but it's not anymore. Yeah, our general Reddits about fighting games are actually pretty weak too, I think. We don't have like a good R fighting games where like, or RFGC where it's like really good. I mean, it's not like there's like some easy solution of just like, all right, well, somebody will just create this right away. Like, you know, it takes a lot of time and upkeep to keep this shit going. But yeah, this is an issue. I mean, I talked about this quite a few times, that there's this lack of a resource, right? And that's it. It comes back to just not only just articles, but like an event calendar, and it comes back to like, you know, other communities being better organized about where all their information stuff is. Have I ever thought about trying to fill the information void by starting something? Absolutely not. It's not a job for me. I'm not a writer. I'm not a programmer. I'm not somebody who's experienced with web developing. I'm none of the things that you would want to create a website like this. The closest I come is by starting up my stream every week and saying, hey everybody, what's up? This weekend we're going to have this tournament. That's what I'm here for.